Alright, so Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials is the sequel to last year's The Maze Runner, which I actually really enjoyed, but I hated the ending. But we'll get to that later. Um, and I think yeah, once again it's directed by Wes Ball and stars Dylan O'Brien, a month uh, amongst a bunch of other talented actors and actresses, and is about Thomas and this group of boys who I had to spoil the Maze Runner here. They get out of the maze. They're in this like facility type place, and they find out that there's this virus that basically turns you into a zombie, like a plant-like zombie. And some of these boys are immune to this disease, which is why they kind of want to keep them contained here. And because of certain reasons, they don't want to be contained here. They want to be part of all this crap. So they flee out into the world now, which is called the Scorch, and they have to survive. And that is our movie. So I was actually really excited to see this movie, weirdly enough. As I said, I really enjoyed this movie, but as I said, I hated the ending, and it left me with so many unanswered questions that I thought would be answered in this movie. Not many of them are, so I still have problems, and I can't quite believe that this world exists yet. Like, I couldn't buy into it much, and here's why. I had two questions about this movie, really. One, how did they get the funding to build this maze? If the world looks like this, like you can't produce something like the maze. Like, how is that even remotely possible? Like, it's just little things like that that bug me. And my second question is, why did they build a maze? I mean, here's the thing. If you find out there's a virus going around that turns you into a zombie, basically, and it's the apocalypse, and there are people immune to it, like, you don't put them in a maze. Like, I don't know why. I guess it was to train them, but it's so confusing, because why a maze? Like, they never explain why a maze specifically. It just little things like that that really bug me in terms of plot holes. But overall, I think it's a really well acted movie. Dylan O'Brien does a pretty solid job. He's pretty good in the action sequences too. Which there's some exhilarating action sequences, and they're all shot pretty well. The cinematography is really good. And there's some interesting points in the movie there. And for once, this one actually has a solid ending. Unlike the first movie, that was this very I don't know, tacked on, I guess, was another big problem I had with the ending in that movie. And yeah, there was some very confusing things. I have notes here if you're wondering what I'm looking at, so I know, because I wanted to cover a lot of things in this video. But as I said, it has a solid ending. It's pretty unpredictable, weirdly enough. Like, I didn't really see where the story was going here. There's some interesting characters in this movie, and it's solid overall. But I'm trying to think. But yeah, the kids have solid chemistry. There is as I said, many entertaining action sequences. It's an overall very entertaining movie. But there is I'm gonna mention about the action sequences. There is one that kind of rips off the Lost World scene with Julianne Moore on the glass. Yeah, that was ripped off in this movie. But it was pretty solid with that. And the practical effects, we're gonna get to this now. The practical effects for zombies was really good. They looked really good. And then in the second half of the movie, they decide to make them all I Am Legend style and have them in CGI, which bugged me. I guess that was just a thing that annoyed me in the movie, and I guess I just couldn't help it. That's just a little thing I need to mention. Also, there's a lot of tonal shifts, if you know what I mean. Like, at 1 second they'll be going, from this one place, and then they'll be in a party sequence, like, tripping on acid, and it's just like, it just felt weird. And there's this big forced, contrived, love triangle in the movie that I didn't feel worked at all, and that kind of led to more of the problems. And the CGI, some of it at least, just looked awful, like especially with the Iron Legend zombies, as I'll call them. Yeah, and there's a big point in like the second act where it's so slow. Like it's excruciatingly slow at some points, and yeah, and there's unanswered questions in this one, as I pointed out at the beginning of this movie. Look at my notes. Oh, and one more thing. The plot feels very place to place to place to place. Like it doesn't feel like it's like in the first one, it's this one contained area. It's this maze, which is really cool. But from this movie, there's too much of the outside world for me. Like they always go place to place to place, and it feels very episodic in that way. It just kind of feels like a series. Like they'll go to this one place, meet this one person, find out something, and then the next episode they'll go on and do something else. That's kind of what this movie felt like at points. But as a whole, I enjoyed the Maze Runner, or not the Maze Runner, Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials. We have to wait 2 more years to get another one. I'll put it this way: I'd rather see another 500 of these than seeing another Divergent movie. Divergences. Yeah, this one has a lot more interesting characters that I can actually care about. Divergent's just a very hollow series. But yeah, so that is my review of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. I'm going to give it a B minus. Alright, so yeah, I almost ended it without giving my grade, but yeah, a B minus for this one. It's decent. It's solid. There's a lot of good things about it, but there's contrived romances and very big problems in terms of pacing and everything I already went over. But yeah, so that is my review of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. On a weird side note, it's been a year today since I saw the first one, and I just saw this one today, so that's a cool, interesting fact. I actually didn't intend for that to happen, so but yeah. So that is my review of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. So, peace.